With the new year comes new challenges, and with new challenges comes new goals. But if you take a step back, the only thing that really changed is you're now another year old. It's the same you, same me, and same old personalities. But now the one key difference is a new task we want to achieve. I failed before, and I've also succeeded. So I'm telling you my experiences to ensure you're not defeated. Starting now. Hey, yo! What's goody, everybody? Today's topic, conquering your resolution. 2025, the new year has arrived. New you, new me, new tasks, new dreams. With another year under our belts, conquering our goals is this year's theme. So today's focus is how to make our dreams a reality. So now that we're live, let's dive. Point number one, steps. Coming into this year, we all made a goal on something we want to improve. So to start things off, we need to outline the steps of what we want to do. Step one is the goal, the subject, or action we want to complete. So before we can move forward, we need to solidify what we want to defeat. A new language, learn to cook, work out, or our religion. Once we've decided, that'll outline our next decision. The most common resolutions are a new habit. Lose weight, eat healthy, sleep better, or drink less. Essentially, the goal of this category is to adjust ourselves to become our best. So the next step is reflection. Look at what you currently do, then identify what's easy to change and what's more difficult to improve. For example, for healthy habits, only drink at the end of the week and no more fast food for lunch. Just by doing those two things, you'll begin to lose some of the weight that wouldn't budge. And to sleep better, brush your teeth after dinner because it'll incentivize you not to eat late. Just by changing one action, you'll be sleepier at night instead of being up late. The key in the beginning is to take small actions that will require little effort, because as you begin to see improvement, you'll be encouraged to be even better. The next set of resolutions are new activities. Learn a language, learn to cook, work out, or travel. These resolutions are about readjusting our priorities so a better us can unravel. So the next step here is to research. Don't dive in head first, because if you're just seeking a how-to in 30 days, it'll just make your situation even worse. For example, for a new language, start with free Duolingo, then progress to a paid program if consistent. And for working out, you don't need an expensive membership. The key is persistence. To cook, try a new recipe every week. And to travel, make a reasonable budget, then scour Google Flights for a destination that's cheap. The key with these is to be excited and to be pumped to try something new. But before we start running or even walking, we must first tie our shoes. So then lastly, our resolutions center around self-growth. Save money, read more, or reconnect with your religion. These resolutions are centered around your inner being and make you more conscious of your decisions. So the next step is to identify what actions you need to change, because the goal of this category is to identify what we want to interchange. For example, for saving, start eating in, drink water, or go out less. By mitigating the former, you'll have more money in excess. Then for reading, instead of gaming, occasionally read a book, because by limiting one activity, you created space for something that once overtook. And for religion, instead of endlessly scrolling social media or ESPN, set aside even just 10 minutes to read a chapter or pray at the day's end. The key is to identify areas of our life that we've overextended to a habit, because as we begin to remove it, we're replacing it with something better for it to habit. So now that we've identified the steps towards the journeys of our resolutions, in point number 2, we tackle the roadblocks that cease our execution. Point number 2, roadblocks. Roadblocks, obstacles, barriers, and walls, all unavoidable, but we can hurdle them all. They apply to all resolutions and they apply to all goals. And regardless of what you're pursuing, you're in full control. First is consistency, the first roadblock we always hit, because at first it seems great, but over time we slowly forget. For working out, the gyms are always packed the first day of the year, but before February arrives, less than 1/10 of those people still appear. And for eating healthy, grocery shopping and cooking is time consuming. So instead of staying the course, we revert back to what we're used to doing. So in this situation, we're back to eating fast food and not working out. So instead of accomplishing our resolutions, we're spending money, eating unhealthy, and our fitness goals are back to being in doubt. Our resolutions deterred so fast just from ceasing 2 actions. So we have to stay focused on the bigger picture to achieve satisfaction. The second roadblock is complacency. A level up from consistent. Our initial results are obvious, but for progression, we need persistence. For exercise, we lose the most weight in the beginning because we're doing something new. But as we continue to go, our bodies will adjust to what we do. The same exercise, workout, and mundane routine, instead of seeking a readjustment, we become content with our being. A level of comfort begins to form over what we've created. So instead of improving, our progression gets negated. And this applies to all resolutions too. Because if it's a language, an app is just an entry. We must speak to someone fluent to truly improve. So even though we have the intentions and we're being consistent, if we become complacent, we'll confuse the hours logged in with the effort that's non-existent. So the last roadblock is time, the final level of them all. Because the goal wasn't just a year, it's supposed to apply to them all. Better health, multiple languages, and a closer bond with God. But if our routine only lasted a year, those skills would wither away like sod. Weight grows back, languages dissipate, and the scriptures we once learned will begin to fade. So unlike a bike, we have to stay focused so we don't regress from the progress we made. So time is the hardest because we have to stay engaged while our surroundings are ever changing. Whether it's our jobs, locations, or our families, our beings are never changing. So stay glued, stay focused, stay engaged, and stay vigilant because the goal of this year is to ensure we remain consistent. So now that we've broken down all the roadblocks that we'll hit, I'll go over the resolutions I failed and how I applied my flaws to my benefit. Point number 3, learn from mistakes. We've gone over the types of resolutions, the steps, and the roadblocks. So now I'll give you my resolution so you can tap into the final gear to unlock. The resolution I failed is learn a new language. I've always wanted to be bilingual as an adult. But boy, oh boy, I did not know all the time that was involved. I started Duolingo and I was consistent, so I upgraded to Plus. Over time, roughly 4 or 5 months, I could say a bunch of phrases, but whenever I spoke to my fluent neighbor, I could never keep up. So I got Rocket Language, a better application that I highly recommend. But the primary issue wasn't the words, it was my usage in the end. Not actively talking, learning from a fluent speaker, or going to Spanish groups or events. I never put myself in an environment where Spanish was a requirement. I stopped practicing about 2-3 years ago because I got complacent. And although I remember a bunch of words and phrases, I needed to be more engaged and patient. So for a resolution I was successful at, but took a few breaks on, was reading the Bible. I started in 2021. I've read the New Testament multiple times, but never read the entire Old. So that year, I decided I would read from New to Old. The New was a breeze, 2-3 chapters a day, and if I was in the zone, I couldn't put the Bible away. But then came the Old. The beginning was great because of all the stories, but as the books progress, it becomes more and more boring. The history, the repetition, it just started feeling monotonous. Now I'm already dyslexic, so boredom just made this journey much more ominous. I went from 2 chapters to 1, then I had to take 2 extended breaks. Reading just to read defeated the purpose, so I knew I needed a reset. When I jumped in the last time, I finally felt refreshed. This November, I finally completed the feat, and even though it took me longer than 3 years, I'm proud of this feat. So then I applied my failures and setbacks to my most recent resolution this year. This channel, A Witness LLC, I started super engaged. I researched and I planned, but naturally I hit a wall. Remembering my previous setbacks, I refused to stall. I struggled mightily and my early videos are certainly a little rough. But with each episode, I continuously saw something I could adjust. I stayed consistent and I refused to be complacent. Now I'm just battling the roadblock of time to see if I can actually make it. My channel is small and my subscribers are low, but I know if I stay focused, I will only continue to grow. So my advice to you is to ignore the odds, mute the haters, and silence the doubters. Because regardless of what anybody says, this is your resolution. Your voice will always be louder. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you'd like to see more, please feel free to check out the channel. And subscribe, because there's more in store. From one witness to another, you are special. Look out.